More than 22,000 miles of public roads connect the communities, industry, and people of Maine. Protecting that infrastructure and the investment it represents is vital to maintaining a healthy economy and the future of our state. Hello, my name is Pete Coughlin. I'm the director of the Maine Local Road Center at MaineDOT, and in this video you'll learn about some of the most important ways the MaineDOT, towns and cities, and some counties protect our roadways. First, we'll cover how roads can get damaged by a combination of weather and traffic. We'll look at how potholes form, how paved and unpaved roads differ, and how heavy trucks can impact the roads. Then we'll cover who determines what roads get posted, how to post them, and when. We'll provide information on best practices and the tools used to make these decisions. And finally, we'll touch on how to enforce posted roads and some of the legal nuances, including permits, exemptions, and penalties. It's our hope that by providing this information, we can make the posting of roads more straightforward and consistent across the state. Under the authority of Maine law, towns and cities can permanently or temporarily restrict heavy vehicles on local roads when conditions are such that the road would be damaged, such as in the springtime. These temporary spring load restrictions are better known as posting a road. Posting is a typical and expected occurrence in Maine, and most Mainers are accustomed to working around these restrictions. However, there could be better coordination between all parties in the state. As temperatures warm and the ground thaws, soil under the pavement becomes saturated with water, making the pavement unstable. As a result, many roads cannot support heavy loads. This means that a road carrying, say, a 15-ton load in the summer or winter may only be able to carry a 5-ton load in the spring when it thaws.
And it's during that time when the roads become the most vulnerable to damage. The frost in the road is leaving, and if you run heavy trucks over them without posting them, they can really do a lot of damage.
On unpaved roads, this damage is immediately obvious as good old Maine mud. Remember that kid's song, Mud, Mud, I love mud, absolute? Anyway. So here's a good example of Maine mud. Copious amounts of mud found in Maine. It's a combination of snow and ice melting during the spring and the March generally, combining with gravel that's not really good gravel. It's a lot of fine stuff. Combination of both with some traffic creates this sort of soup. So when cars drive on roads like this, it's real easy to get stuck in the mud. On paved roads, the damage can start small and grow unnoticed at first. This is typical alligator cracking or load-associated cracking, which started out as a single crack and then they all connected to become this. This is a combination of vehicle loading, relatively thin pavement, and probably a relatively weak subbase. Eventually this pops out and you end up having to put patch in it. Each year, MaineDOT evaluates the potential damage to state and state aid highways and determines whether weight restrictions should be imposed to prevent damage like you've just seen. Many municipalities do the same thing for their local roads. Truckers are familiar with this process as it has a big impact on their day-to-day operations. Maine relies on the trucking industry, and truckers rely on Maine roads. In a perfect world, every road would be built to withstand the heaviest legal loads, but that isn't economically practical. While MaineDOT has its own process for posting state-maintained roads, it is probably easiest for towns to develop local rules which follow the format of the Maine Municipal Association, which has a model ordinance available. By using and customizing this model ordinance, it can create greater consistency in posting across the state, and the term ordinance is more familiar to courts and to police officers. Because Maine law gives the municipal officers the exclusive authority to pass traffic ordinances, the proposed rules should be publicly posted and then presented at a public hearing to the board or the council, and the ordinance should be posted at the town hall or on the website. It's highly recommended to have roads posted by the registered vehicle weight. This eliminates the need and the financial burden to actually weigh vehicles. Simply check the registrations. if you do not specify registered weight in your rules, then actually weighing vehicles is a requirement if you want to prosecute violators.
Having said that, if a vehicle is registered for over 23,000 pounds, you might think they're in violation, but if they physically weigh less than that, then they wouldn't be in violation and a ticket shouldn't be issued.
Now, you may ask, where does the 23,000 pounds come from that you see typically? Well, MaineDOT uses 23,000 pounds as a standard weight limit. With almost no exceptions, MaineDOT posted roads are all paved. Municipalities may choose a different limit, especially for unpaved roads. Even lightweight vehicles can cause serious damage to dirt roads.
Members of the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit carry portable scales with us in our cruisers to pull out and weigh vehicles. And certainly municipal and county officers can enforce this law without scales. Having said that, if I was to stop one, I likely would weigh it because I can, and that will bolster that case a little bit more if it were to go to court.
Signs must be clearly posted at each end of each section of road where the town wants to temporarily restrict heavy vehicles. The signs should be highly visible in color and size, like the typical orange ones. You may want to place the signs high enough to be out of easy reach of vandals, but not as high as to be missed by drivers. The law does require the following information be included on the sign: the name of the road and what sections are posted, the restrictions, most notably the weight limits, the periods of closing, and any exclusions such as exempt vehicles. We'll cover this more later. Consider displaying the weight limit or other important information in large text so truck drivers can read it without having to pull over and put on their reading glasses. It would also be helpful to have the name of the road commissioner or the public works director sign on the bottom with a telephone number. If a vehicle must travel over an adjacent town's unposted road before it gets to your town's posted road, it can leave the driver in a difficult situation. It's best to work with the adjacent town before you create this problem.
I'd make a phone call. When the weather starts to get warm, we kind of coordinate and work with each town to find out when are you posting, when are you thinking about posting.
It may be best to use one of these signs in the adjacent town to tell a driver that so many miles ahead the road is posted so that they don't get down there and find out they have to turn around. You may ask what's the best time to post a road and then remove it later. There are tools available to help any town make that decision. First, keep an eye on the weather conditions and start thinking about it when temps start to approach 32 degrees. Second, check your roads to see if they're starting to thaw, especially if they see a lot of sun. Is there water in the cracks? Third, check with adjacent towns and the local DOT office. Working together will lessen the impact to the driving public. A technical approach is highly recommended to guide state and local officials. The Northeast Regional Climate Center website now has an easy-to-use map that changes daily and is an excellent guide.
I keep an eye on the long-range forecast. I have it bookmarked.
What you'll find is that there's really two maps. The cumulative freezing and the cumulative thawing maps basically are color-coded. As things are colder, they start off as pink and then they transition to blue, which still means it's in a frozen state. As you're getting into the yellows and browns, that means that the things are starting to thaw out or are at a more of a critical state. And what you're really looking for is when you're seeing it go from a light blue to a yellow is a great time to post your roads. And then the map transitions into a light green to a dark green, meaning things are drying out and into a more of a normal summertime mode. One of the other features to the maps themselves is that they're updated daily, so you can see what's happening today. But more importantly, you can look into the future. Technology is good, but ground truthing is more important, so you need to spend some time out in the field to actually review what's physically happening.
And you can ride around and you can look at the roads and see how they're behaving. You can actually, sometimes you can get out and you can actually see water coming up through the cracks, and it's during that time when they're the most vulnerable.
Water coming through the cracks, shoulders soft, water running in the ditches are all indications that thawing is still going on.
By DOT definition, a road is considered solidly frozen only when the air temperature is 32 degrees or below and no water is showing in the cracks of the road. Alternatively, if the air temp is 32 or below and water is showing in the cracks of the road is still considered solidly frozen if the adjacent gravel driveways or shoulders or lawns remain frozen. MaineDOT and most towns have this term in their rules because it's okay to have heavy vehicles drive over solidly frozen posted roads and do no damage. If a town chooses to omit this term, then all heavy vehicles are restricted on all of the posted days. The MaineDOT maintains a list of both state and local posted roads and relevant contact information on our website. We encourage all towns to send their list of posted local roads to DOT for inclusion on the site.
We see a lot of damage across the state. We see pavement that's breaking up on the shoulders, heavy trucks all over the place that are on posted roads. But by and large, we think industry and the companies are trying to avoid these violations and stay off the posted roads.
When someone ignores the restrictions of a posted road, they put vital infrastructure at risk. Municipal officers within their respective jurisdiction have the same power as the state police in the enforcement of all the rules of DOT, the county commissioners, and the town. The state or county police do not have to be called in to nab violators. If delegated, your local constable or police officer has the same power. Simply issue a traffic citation, and the fine can't be less than $250. Each violation is considered a separate offense, and in addition to any fine, the municipality may seek restitution for the cost of repairs to any damaged way or bridge and the reasonable attorney fees and costs.
If they see a violation, stop it and look into it, and they may find that it's a true violation, they may find that it's not, but don't assume right from the get-go that the driver's in the wrong. Ask the questions, look at the law book, look at the rules, and compare them all and make sure you're doing the right thing. If you have questions, by all means, call us, and we will walk you through it if we can.
There are some situations where heavy traffic may need to travel on a posted road. In all cases, state law allows the following. Any vehicle delivering, number 1, home heating fuel or organic animal bedding and operating with a MaineDOT permit may travel over any county or town way without a specific municipal or county permit. This allows fuel truck drivers to get only one DOT permit and not one from every town which they may be traveling in. However, these vehicles must still follow any local restrictions in each town. And number 2, certain well drilling equipment when necessary during a period of drought emergency declared by the governor, and then operating in accordance with a MaineDOT permit. When it comes to other specific exemptions, this is where the MaineDOT rules may differ from local rules. MaineDOT only allows certain vehicles to travel over posted roads. This is the fine print in the orange signs. It mentions, number 1, any vehicle under 23,000 pounds. Number 2, any vehicle or combination registered for over 23,000 and traveling without a load. This allows a heavy truck to go home empty. Number 3, any MaineDOT maintenance vehicle. Number 4, emergency vehicles, school buses, wreckers towing a vehicle, and certain utility vehicles. And 5, any 2-axle vehicle between 23 and 34,000 pounds carrying a, quote, special commodity as displayed on the screen. Any vehicle with a registered weight over 34,000 pounds and carrying one of these special commodities can apply online to MaineDOT for a limited load permit and must carry a partial load. Municipal rules may or may not be different than those from MaineDOT.
So just because you see a sign posted and a heavy truck on that road doesn't mean they can't be there. If I'm going to be specifically looking for posted road violations, the first thing I'll do is find a road that I'm going to be watching. I'll take a picture of that sign, make sure I understand exactly what the restrictions are on that particular road, and then watch for trucks from there.
In many towns, the decision to allow heavy vehicles rests with the road commissioner, who makes daily decisions based on current weather and road conditions. More formally, the MMA Model Ordinance is commonly used and includes the same list of DOT exemptions. However, it has an allowance for any and all heavy vehicles, including building supply trucks, pulp trucks, cement trucks, dairy vehicles, and other heavy types, but all dependent on daily conditions. The owner or operator of any vehicle not otherwise exempt may apply in writing to the municipal officers for a permit to operate on a posted way or bridge. In determining whether to issue a permit, the municipal officer should also consider the factors listed here: the gross registered weight of the vehicle, current and anticipated condition of the road, the number and frequency of the vehicle trips, the cost and availability of materials and equipment for repairs, and the extent of use by other exempt vehicles and other relevant factors. In closing, remember, be practical and don't post too early. Confer with other towns in the area and MaineDOT when necessary. Only post roads needing protection, and get the word out early to truckers. Their livelihood may depend on being able to plan around posted roads. And if you want to enforce it locally, remember, the town needs an ordinance to do this.
Yeah, we spend a lot of tax money on our roads, and we're just trying to protect that investment.
Maine's 22,000 miles of roads connect us together. It's vital that we protect this investment for our economy and for our people.
Yeah, we've all got a stake in this game: enforcement, industry, and the drivers on the side of the road. Let's make sure we're enforcing this uniformly and doing the right thing for the citizens of the state of Maine.
We all use the roads. Let's not take them for granted. Safe travels, and thank you for watching. For any further information, contact the local DOT office or the local road center.